think it's important to have a clarification of what your page is about. And my particular page is about alcoholism in the family, alcohol, what goes on with inside the family as it's a family disease. And recently I've made a bunch of videos about my wife and her DUIs, and a lot of people don't really understand it, but it's really targeted specifically for families who have gone through this, alcoholics who have lived, survived, and maybe some of them have succumbed. And I know a lot of people have gone through this. It actually affects about 50% of the population, either directly or indirectly. And if for some reason you have not had this experience, that's wonderful on it. My hat goes off to you. It's very difficult to understand these particular type of stories without being judgmental or, try to fill your comments with shame. And I get that. But it's also important that it's a mental health disease. And it's something that needs to be addressed as such. So, on that note, a lot of the stories people don't understand that I'm telling them, they happened years ago. Most of her DUIs were over 10 years ago, between 10 and 5 years ago. And ultimately, a lot of people don't understand. My wife succumbed to the disease about 4.5 years ago. I've actually made a number of videos that go over common questions, but as this huge exposure rate, we get these huge explosions of exposure with certain videos like we have this week. We get a lot of new people that have the same kind of questions. But yeah, she did succumb. She fell down a flight of stairs in her 7th rehab facility in January of 2020. She spent 28 days in intensive care unit at UCLA. Underwent 12 operations, and essentially they kept going in because all the infection in all her organs were just wreaking havoc in her body, and they just, at the end, they couldn't save her. It was too much stress on her heart. I mean, her liver, her pancreas, her kidneys, her intestinal tract, and ultimately her heart stopped. It was just overworked, and her blood pressure went down. So it was toxic shock from all the infection, and then her heart essentially stopped because of the alcoholism. I mean, she drank for many years, and it accelerated, as I tell in my stories. And I explain this because it's a tragedy, and these stories are not told lightly because they're very difficult to tell. But I know absolutely, because of the feedback that I get, that it helps the people that it's targeted to. It helps families, it helps alcoholics. Number one, it resonates with family because they realize they're not the only ones who have gone through this. And they get a lot of helpful information, absolutely. And then it helps alcoholics to realize, maybe I understand the path of destruction that I've created in my family. Maybe I should pull back on that. Or alcoholics that have put it into recovery and they go like, wow, I don't ever want to go back there again. So it scares people straight. It's also a deterrent, and it resonates with families. It's educational because I know a lot of people may be in that situation and don't quite understand what's going on. And I hope that helps. And the last thing I want to point out is that it is a mental health disease. It's been classified as a mental health disease since 1956 by the American Medical Association, by the Psychology since 1980. It has all the characteristics of what a disease is. It's progressive, and if nothing happens to get in its way, it will become progressive until the person does succumb to it. And if you get somebody who's in the later stages, they're deflecting and they're gaslighting and everything else is everybody else's fault, that's a tough nut to crack because you're in the later stages. You really want to get people in the earlier stages before they become chemically, physically, emotionally dependent on alcohol, before it's become their identity as a person. It's so important, and that's what this page is really all about, is prevention and telling these graphic stories without getting into the details and getting hung up on the details of of blaming spouses or families, because they're doing the best they can and they're in situations that they don't completely understand themselves. And that's why I have this page, and that's why I make these videos. And again, I go live Monday through Friday, right around 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We also have the Facebook group. It's called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. The link is in the bio, or you can go to Facebook, but just you can just go to the link right on my page. It's in the link tree. And also, when you're ready to work with me one-on-one, I have a coaching program. It's designed for the alcoholic and the family. It's called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. I'm looking for people who are ready to change their lives. We give you a blueprint of what to go, where to go for the rest of your life. The call is free. The program definitely not. But I want people. I want people who are motivated, to say the least. And again, thanks for listening.